Hello there. Despite moving into the autumn and winter seasons, the action is truly starting to hot up in the Tennent's Men's Premiership and National Leagues. We are here to bring you the best of the games from Nationals 1, 2 and 3 as we head into round 6. But first we're going to start with round 7 in the Premiership and to look at the bottom of the table where Heriot's Blues have not had the return to the top flight that they were expecting, losing their opening 6 games with only just 2 bonus points. One of them which was grabbed last week in a narrow loss to Selkirk. They'll be looking to take those positives into this week's game as they travel down to Riverside Park to take on Jedburgh.
Despite the eventual scoreline, it was an even first half that started with a couple of Jed penalties, knocked over by open-side flanker Finlay Scott, clearly not letting the number on his back define him. Heriot's would respond with a penalty of their own before their best spell of the game. Inside centre Oisin Quinn burst through a tackle and released a spectacular offload to Morgan Bruce. He found young winger Noah Henry, who wriggled his way through to score.
Good work.
Their second was an intercept made to look easy, with Sean Johnson galloping away to score and give the visitors a well-deserved lead. But Jed would bring themselves back into contention just before the break, when Jai McGuff darted over after a powerful Forest scrum. Looking at the start of the second half, you couldn't have predicted the final outcome. The Blues took the lead when more good work from Quinn allowed Dominic Martin to scamper over. It wouldn't last long. Darren Gillespie broke through before releasing Mason Cullen, who popped from the deck to find Gregor Young for the score. That gave the hosts confidence, and they knocked over another penalty before their next try. That came when Elliot Lauder offloaded excellently before the ball was recycled to Grant Paxton. The loose head barged through a couple of tackles before Cullen was released out wide, and he scored spectacularly in the corner.
Try.
Jed then had an intercept of their own, with Gillespie picking the ball off and streaking in next to the posts. Gregor Young was then involved again as Forest started to run riot. This time he offloaded to brother Lewis, who dotted down. Then he sparked a move in the final moments, making light work of the Heriot's defence that allowed captain Clark Skeldon to add the icing to the scoreline.
Well, the result for Heriot's Blues means that Musselburgh have an opportunity to climb away from the relegation threat. However, they knew this was not going to be an easy challenge as they had their second home game in as many weeks. They took on second place Edinburgh Accies at Stony Hill, who themselves have been flying the recent this season and are looking to challenge for the top spot along with Curry Chieftains and Glasgow Hawks. All three of them sit on 21 points, with Accies knowing that a big points difference would move them above the Chieftains.
Accies got the scoring underway early in this runaway rout. From the very first scrum, Rory Campbell fed Ben Granger, who released Kerr Gosman down the blind side to score. It took them a little while to add to the scoreline, which was narrowed slightly by a Danny Owenson penalty. but the Accies scrum was dominating, and it would be Campbell to get the second from the back of the pack. The Borough defence was creaking loudly at this point, and Campbell was again influential, setting up Gossman for his second and Accies' third.
Stay with that, Mary.
The winger completed his hat-trick before the break, following a terrific Accies backline move, effectively killing the game as a contest early on.
Yeah. Thank you.
Musselburgh did briefly show what they're capable of when Matthew McMillan went over, and Owenson's conversion cut the gap to 10 points at the half.
Scrum advantage.
That would be about as close as the hosts got, though. It was Clem Lacour who burrowed his way over to score an early second half try and set the tone for the rest of the game.
Penalty advantage.
Gossman then got his fourth after great interplay with Robbie Kent from the restart. Which Ben Appleson finally converted. The Accies pack ran over the top of their opponents for the 7th, with Cole Imrie scoring.
From the back, you're fine. Stay out, don't touch. Out, out. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Go, 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 go.
And for all Musselburgh's efforts, they were able to get one second half try, with substitute Paddy Brown tunnelling his way to the line.
Shot, move. Use the line, don't go beyond. One. Thank you.
Robbie Kent was instrumental again in Rory Campbell's second, the pair exchanging passes before the back row crossed once more. Substitute Max Love was next on the score sheet, offering good support for a try that scrum halves dream about. And Richie Thompson brought the scoring to an end, receiving from Max Wallace to cross and leave Accies with an almost 40-point gap on their hosts. Quite the afternoon's work.
Well, as we mentioned before, Accies, Hawks and Curry Chieftains were all level on 21 points at the end of the last round. Third place Hawks met first place Curry at Balgrey, with Hawks coming off the back of a 56-0 victory against Musselburgh, while Curry were still reeling from their first defeat this season in a repeat of last year's final against Mar. It was Curry that would take the lead on the 15-minute mark, after Jamie Forbes found Greg Canny, who found a gap through the defence to go over the line. Hawks responded well, however, and Gary Strain found their first score of the match moments later. Matthew Stewart converted the penalty to bring the scores level.
Try.
And what about this for an impressive run as Hawks then scored their second try. Sam Graham made a burst from his own 22, an impressive dummy as well, before finding a couple more Hawks players before allowing Brendan McGortry to go over. But just before the referee's whistle blew, Jamie Forbes scored this penalty to bring the score within 2 points. And they were the ones that would get the try in the second half, with Cody McGovern adding to his impressive try tally already this season with another. Hawks couldn't find their footing in the second half, but despite some impressive defensive displays, Curry Chieftains continued to pounce, and they went over for their next try through DJ Innes. Clearly the thoughts of last week's loss to Mar were behind them, and they got their bonus point try moments later through Ewan Stewart.
Try.
The pressure kept on mounting, however, and DJ Innes managed to get his second try for an intercepted pass. Hawks couldn't find any points in that half as Curry went on to record an impressive victory. Well, as we mentioned before, Mar got back to winning ways with a morale-boosting victory over Curry. They took that into this week's game at Mansfield Park, where they challenged Hawick, who are the only unbeaten team so far in the Premiership this season. With a packed crowd looking on at Mansfield Park, they were ready for one of the matches of the season. However, it wasn't to be, unfortunately, as Colin Sturgeon kicked this penalty for Mar to open and score on 20 minutes. Both teams struggled to continue the scoring in the first half. However, Hawick then eventually did find the breakthrough when Callum Rennick managed to find a gap in the defence to make the run before Sean Muir eventually got the ball over the whitewash. They added to this points tally moments later with a steal from the line-out and a fantastic run from Gareth Welsh, who went over to add their second try. As the second half approached, Mar could not find any more points, and nor could they find any more points in the second half. Hawick, however, managed to find some through Bailey Donaldson's fantastic left foot. This penalty brought the score to 15-3 as it looked out of Mar's hands to get the victory. They kept searching for the bonus point, but Hawick continued their impressive run, and a fantastic try from Matt Carrier, who powered his way over the line, gave them the win. Well, our final game in the Premiership comes from Philip Hall, where Selkirk took on GHA. Selkirk were looking to get back into the playoff spots, while GHA knew that a loss here could mean they would drop as low as 8th, depending on Jed's result. Despite it being a windy affair, there was no shortage of fantastic kicks in this match. First off, Aaron Malcolm got the first penalty of the game to make it 3-0 to the hosts. GHA were the ones, however, who would get the first try of the match when Archie Falconer broke off in the back of a driving maul to go over.
Stay where you are, don't change your bind. Try awarded. Yeah.
Malcolm added another penalty for the hosts. But despite this, they could not find any more points in the first half, and it was GHA that would open up the try scoring in the second half when Dario Ewing went under the posts. Selkirk once again opted for the post as Malcolm got his first penalty. And they finally scored a try moments later when Bruce Riddle went over from a line-out maul. and even added to the score moments later when Munro Job went over. Just like that, GHA had lost any chances of victory, and they couldn't even get the losing bonus point as Bruce Riddle went over for his second try to complete an incredible comeback for the hosts. So Accies are now top of the table on points difference, with Curry dropping down to second. Hawick's unbeaten run sees them move into third, while Hawks occupy the last playoff spot. Selkirk are only just a point behind them thanks to their win. GHA only now find themselves 4 points ahead of Musselburgh, who themselves are also still only a point ahead over Heriots. It's a big round of fixtures in round 8 as the bottom two meet at Golden Acre. Heriots Blues host Musselburgh as both teams look for their first win. GHA are also up against Jed Forest as they look to close the gap on 7th place. At the top of the table, leaders Accies host Hawks as they look to pull away from Curry, who themselves are looking to end Hawick's unbeaten run. Elsewhere, Mar look to get back to winning ways at home to Selkirk. We now turn our attention to Tennent's Men's National 1, where Kelso have been keeping the pace on league leaders Gala, only behind by just a point. They were looking to keep that momentum going at the weekend as they took on Highland at Poynter Park. In a close game at Poynter Park, it was Highland that would take the lead first. Scott Fraser got his first penalty of the match. But Kelso came back fighting, and it was Cammy Thompson who would get the first try of the match. He plotted down over the line to get Kelso's first score. The boot of Scott Fraser came in handy once again as he got another 3 points from Highland with this penalty. But Kelso once again answered back with a try, this time through Bruce McNeil, who went over the line to bring the score to 14-6 at the half-time break. And they got the first try of the second half through fullback Liam Herdman, who made a fantastic run to score. Highland, however, matched this with their own pace, and they got their first try of the game through Magnus Henry after some fantastic work from the backs. Kelso answered back with a try of their own through Dwayne Patterson. But Highland kept the pressure on as they searched for the bonus points. Gordy Gregor went over for their second try of the match. And Ian Crush, without a shadow of a doubt, scored the try of the day, picking it up from their own box kick and running almost the entire length of the pitch to score. However, despite this amazing try, they could not find the all-important fourth try. They left with a losing bonus point, but Kelso walked away as they kept the pressure on Gala. Elsewhere in Tennent's Men's National 1, Ayr took advantage of Highland's loss to move into third after they beat Stuart's Melville. Stirling County got back to winning ways on the road as they beat GHK. Aberdeen Grammar still cannot find their first win of the season, as Watsonians travel back down the A90 with a bonus point victory. And Gala got the win, albeit their first non-bonus point of the season, in a tough battle against their rivals from the promotion chase last year, Biggar, who held to their third defeat in a row.
Try.
In our other game, Melrose also scored a close victory over Dundee at Mayfield. So let's take a look at the table now, and Gala and Kelso still remain separated by a single point. Ayr now move up to third, while Melrose also climb up to fourth thanks to their win. Watsonians are now away from the relegation spots, while opponents Aberdeen remain winless after 5 rounds. Both of last year's promoted teams also join the northern side in the relegation zone. First and second will meet next week at Netherdale as Gala face Kelso. Elsewhere, Ayr host Aberdeen and GHK look to climb back up the table against Melrose. Highland are on the road again as they travel to Stewart's Melville. Biggar look to end their losing run at Bridgeshaw against Stirling County, and Watsonians will host Dundee. There were some big results in Tennent's men's national too, as Kirkcaldy secured a big win at Pennypet against Preston Lodge, while Falkirk won under the Friday night lights at Boroughmuir. Dumfries Saints also recorded their first win of the season over fellow strugglers Hamilton Bulls. Glasgow Accies continue to top the league, but Kirkcaldy and Peebles follow shortly behind them. Cartha and Hamilton are still searching for their first win to climb off the bottom of the table. And they will be looking to do that next week as they host Berwick and Falkirk respectively, while league leaders Glasgow Accies as well will be looking to continue their fine form on the road to third place Peebles. In Tennent's men's national 3, Hillhead John Hill's chances of the promotion took a massive blow as they lost narrowly to Allen Glen 17-14. Elsewhere, Murrayfield Wanderers picked up a morale-boosting victory away to Greenock Wanderers, while Gordonians scored a massive 104 points against Perthshire. West of Scotland as well continued their fine form, winning 5 from 5 with a win over Strathmore as they kept the pressure on Gordonians at the top of the table. Hawick's victory over Orkney sees them move above their opponents into 4th place, while Royal High are still searching for their first win of the season. Their search for the win does not get any easier as they host league leaders Gordonians at the weekend. Elsewhere, it's big gains for West of Scotland as they take on Hawick, and for Hillhead John Hill, they'll look to get back to winning ways against Whitecraigs. Elsewhere, Murrayfield Wanderers will host Allen Glens, Orkney take on Greenock Wanderers, and Strathmore host Perthshire. So there we have it, another fantastic weekend of club rugby in the Tennent's men's Premiership and National Leagues. Big games next week as leaders Accies host Hawks, and at the bottom of the table, Heriot's Blues host Musselburgh, and in National 1, Gala take on Kelso. We hope to see you then, and thank you very much for watching.